Listen carefully, for anger is a dangerous weapon that can be used to slay enemies, but it can also destroy everything in its path, including yourself. First, know that anger is a natural emotion that every warrior feels, but it must be harnessed and controlled. You cannot let it control you, for then you will become nothing but a mindless beast, unable to see reason or logic. To deal with your anger issues, you must first acknowledge them, accept that you are angry, and do not deny it or try to suppress it. Remember that the mind cannot be tamed by force alone, just as a blade cannot be wielded without the proper skill. Next, you must seek to understand why you are angry. What has caused this rage within you? Is it a perceived injustice, a slight against your honor, or perhaps something deeper and more personal? Only by understanding the source of your anger can you hope to control it. Once you have identified the root of your anger, you must learn to channel it properly. Just as a hammer can be used to build or destroy, so too can anger be a tool for creation or destruction. It all depends on how you wield it. Remember, anger can be a powerful motivator, driving you to push beyond your limits and achieve great things. But it can also blind you to the consequences of your actions, leading you down a path of destruction and ruin. Therefore, you must learn to use your anger wisely. Do not lash out in blind fury, but instead channel your rage into focused determination. Use it to fuel your desire for success, and let it push you to become the best version of yourself. And finally, never forget that anger can be a double-edged sword. Just as it can give you strength and power, it can also consume you and destroy everything you hold dear. So be mindful of your anger, and always keep it in check. Remember, boy, anger is not your enemy, but neither is it your ally. It is simply a part of who you are, and it is up to you to decide how you will wield it. Use it wisely, and you will become a true warrior.
All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKodash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth sincerity. Or this is the brother Tawab Bakah from GMS Los Angeles / Inland Empire, coming back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Tawada Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai for opening minds to this truth. Allow me to wake up another day, putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes that I'll find the hopeful elect. Okay, and as you can see, I was playing this clip off of TikTok, and they had that character from that video game, God of War. Brothers that's familiar with that know what I'm talking about. There's a character on there called Kratos, and that was basically the character that was speaking. And he mentioned some, some solid points, because, when we watch certain things, we always looking at things with a spiritual eye, We always, watch different, whereas movies, even sometimes music, and we look at the spiritualness of things. We always take things from a spiritual perspective. And as you heard him speaking about that emotion, anger, which we all have. Okay, all of us have that emotion, anger, when we deal with it, regularly, and it's different levels of anger. Okay. But the point is not letting the anger consume us and destroy us. Okay, no matter what, no matter what causes us to be angry, we can't allow that anger to snowball into destructive behavior. Because as he mentioned in the video, anger can be used in a productive way, and because there's always two sides to things, anger can be used as a tool to, or as fuel to, to get certain things done, okay? But it also can become a detriment, if it's not used properly. And this is what we learn when we come into the truth. This is a day-by-day thing that we learn, and how we move, our actions, and see, the scriptures are here to give us those instructions and how we supposed to move in situations, okay? So we don't put ourselves in harm's way, as well as others, brothers, because us being in this truth, we're representations of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, we out here preaching the word of the Lord, so we gotta, be mindful of how we move. Okay, not saying we're gonna be perfect, but we definitely don't want to be out here bringing putting a stain upon the gospel. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring out a few scriptures, and I pray this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. So I'm gonna start with Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26. It says, "Be ye angry, and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, neither give place to the devil." And you see, and it all starts in the mind, okay? When you see somebody that's full of rage and they lash out, that's something that started in that individual's mind, okay? It was something that was constantly being entertained in that individual's mind, and it finally reached the breaking point. Recently it was just a fire, near my where I worked, and there was this video. Now there's this video circulating that it was this Edomite in this warehouse. He had set this pallet of, looked like it was tissue, paper towels. I don't know exactly what it was, but he had set a pallet on fire, and when he had set the pallet on fire, he said, he said something to the effect that they should have paid us enough to live, pretty much. He did it out of frustration. He did it out of anger, because out here, in California, and not just California, but all throughout Babylon, prices are going up, and I believe, the top expensive places is New York, California. I heard Florida is up there. A lot of these places are expensive now, man. So a lot of people are hurting, so, and this thing that happened, these are things that are going to continue to happen. These are things that are going to increase, because people out here, like I said, people are on edge. Okay, people are angry. People are being overworked. Okay, people are being underpaid. Okay, people are being laid off. Okay, so it's a lot of people that's going to be out here unstable, moving off emotion. Whereas us that's in this truth, we're supposed to move completely opposite of how these people are moving. Okay, because these people are out here, they're controlled by those spirits that's on them. They're driven by their emotion, and they act it out. You see, so getting back to the the point of the the lesson where it says be ye angry. So we're gonna be angry. There's no question about that. Okay, we're in this flesh. Certain things are gonna piss us off. Okay. At the same time, we gotta know how to harness and control that anger. you know, and turn it into something productive, you know, turn it into something productive instead of something destructive, you know, because that's what it can happen. It's a two-edged sword, you know, and it's all about how he said it in the video. It's all about how we wield it, how we wield our anger. Are we gonna wield it to do things that's productive in the spirit, okay, productive in our day-to-day, or are we going to use it to be destructive in our path, you know? And this is something we all got to be mindful of, because we all do get angry, okay? And then another thing he said in the video is, you know, to acknowledge that you're angry. You know, don't try to brush it off. You know, don't try to, you know, deny it. You know, we all get angry from time to time, man. You know, hey, we angry every day. You know, but like I said, it's levels to anger. You know, there's certain things that, you know, they may be a pet, what they say, a pet peeve. You know, things that, you know, we strongly dislike. There's things that we don't really care for. There's certain small little minute things that may annoy us, you know. But we're not supposed to allow those things to become a fuel to be destructive, man. Instead of use it as fuel to be productive, you know, because we don't want to become unfruitful in this thing, you know, because that's what could happen, you know, when somebody's not venting properly. That's what can happen. It can become, someone can become unfruitful, man, you know, and we don't want that, you know. And we know in this society, you know, we catching, you know, Jake catching hell and everything, but the Lord's still gonna hold us accountable, man, for our actions, man. So we just can't be out here, you know, just moving recklessly, and, you know, every time something pisses us off, we ready to lose our cool, lose our edge. You know, we gotta, you know, remember these scriptures. All right, this is Psalms chapter 37, verse 8. It says, "Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil." You see that? And you see, in a lot of our people, the 2/3, these YNs, a lot of these Jakes out here that's, you know, taking penitentiary chances when they go out here and they do all this foolishness, all this evil and wickedness. That's the main thing they're driven by, is that anger, you know, all those emotions, you know, and that's an example for us to see that, this is what happens when you don't have the hedge of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. When you don't have this truth, when you don't have leaders that instruct you the right way, you know, to give you proper guidance, okay, give you sound counsel, wisdom, advice. When you don't have these things, that's the results, you know. So this is just something we always got to have in the forefront of our minds, man. You know, especially in the times that we in. Like I said, a lot of people out here are moving off their emotions, and you got a lot of demons out here that try to get you to be in that mode, man. Try to get you to lose your cool and shit, you know. So, you know, we gotta have our spiritual mind on alert. We gotta have that. The spirit gotta be on point. You gotta be on alert for these spirits out here, man. Okay, it says, "Cease from anger and forsake wrath. fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. You see that? You know, the scriptures say, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, right? And like I said, we're all mad, we're all angry here, but we still have to wait upon the Lord, okay? Our wrath ain't is incomparable to the Lord's wrath, okay? And we always gotta remember too, you know, the Lord is in control, man. Okay, this is part of being in this thing. You know, there's gonna be things that's gonna, you know, make us angry. There's gonna be things that we're not gonna fully understand in a moment, right? We're not gonna you know, feel good about certain things, and it's okay, because there's examples in the scriptures where you had men of the Lord from the past that were put in very difficult circumstances, but yet they still had to trust in the Lord, and in the end they were all delivered. They were all vindicated, man. Okay. But you know, and it goes back to the patience, man, meaning to suffer. So we have to suffer in order to be able to receive that rest, that reward. And Lord willing, we all endure to the end and receive that reward, which is the kingdom of heaven. You know, being joint heirs with our Lord Yahweh Shai. That should be the end goal. That should be the end game, man. That should be the main focus on our mind, because you know, anger can blind that. Anger can blind wherever purpose, the main goal, wherever our main goal is. You know, if anger is not being used properly, it can blind us from those things. It can blind us from the reason why we're here. You know, everything is just about what, you know, what caused you to be angry, and everything else doesn't matter anymore. You know, and that's not a good place to be. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like, I didn't want to ramble on any further. I just wanted to make that point for brothers, you know, because we all deal with this, man. It ain't just, you know, a few brothers, this brother. No, it's all of us. We all deal with this emotion right here. It's just the way we have to go about dealing with it while being in this emotion. That's where it's going to count, man. You know, and not letting these things drive us to a point where we're going to put ourselves in jeopardy and others in jeopardy as well. You know, so yeah, so like I said, you know, just want to make that point. I pray this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. Stay strong, keep fighting. We almost out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim HaKodash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word, truth, sincerity. Shalom.